question. So we know very little about colostrum synthesis, and we know in bovine, I should say, and we know even less about what affects colostrum yield. Okay, so I think that's a major weakness in the literature at this point. So why did we see an improvement in colostrum yield? At this point, I can only speculate mechanisms. Okay, so typically changes in production performance are related to number of epithelial cells secreting milk, or the secretory activity of the epithelial cell, given that we didn't have changes in intake of those cows and nutrient supply to the best of our knowledge. Okay, so I can speculate that perhaps there's changes in mammary cell population that's affecting that, or I guess one could speculate also that the same effects that eventually we saw after calving on health of cows, perhaps some of those diseases that are set up early or before calving, maybe the risk was already less before calving, and that allowed nutrients to be partitioned more towards synthesis of milk and nutrients in milk than necessarily to fight potential pathogens that are circulating during the last hours of gestation and until the time that we measure or harvest colostrum in the cows. The reality is that I don't really have a solid explanation for that. I can only speculate of improvements in health that perhaps might be happening even before calving in those cows, or maybe effects of those trace minerals on proliferation and survival of mammary epithelial cells that would enhance colostrum yield. Okay, but it's true, we know very little about colostrum synthesis and how to manipulate that. In all of our experiments, we measure colostrum yield, but in many cases, we don't have a clear explanation why differences might have occurred.